sounds delicious. I just want to let you know that our next cooking demo will be on Tuesday, October 5th at 7 p.m. And we'll feature the owner and chef of Luna Bakery and Cafe. And she's going to be showing fall desserts. So that should be perfectly in season. All right, so now on to tonight's chef. Tonight's chef, Dannika Stevenson, was born and raised in Akron, Ohio. Her culinary career began at the age of 4 in her great-grandmother Pearl's kitchen and has expanded over the 15 years across kitchens in Louisiana, Georgia, Tennessee, and Ohio. She's worked various culinary roles such as prep cook, chef assistant, beverage, and banquet server. She took her talents and tried out for national cooking shows such as MasterChef and The Taste, which she received high remarks for her recipe submissions, and was recently the runner-up in vegetarian recipe category for the Taste of Home magazine. Dannika is a SERVSAFE certified and working towards her WSET wine certification. And her business, SipSavorSoul, specializes in cooking classes, catering, private chef services, and cookie designs. So welcome, Dannika. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you, guys. Welcome to SipSavorSoul. This is actually, I'm on location today. I'm actually at my line sister's kitchen. Her name is Miss Tanya Black. She's behind me. She's waving. She says hello. So welcome, you guys. I'm so honored to be here again. My name is Chef Dannika Stevenson. You guys today can call me Chef Danny for short. And yes, my business is called SipSavorSoul. A lot of kids like to put the soul into it. So when it comes to food, I put my soul into everything that I do. So welcome again. Now, you guys are here for New Orleans, Nolans, New Orleans, or NOLA, however you want to call it. We're going to do some New Orleans cooking today, dessert edition. So today, if you guys have not eaten dinner, it's okay. I give you permission tonight to have dessert first, okay? So don't tell anyone about that, okay? We're not only making not one, but 2 desserts today. We're going to make the classic French beignet from the famous Café du Monde down in the heart of the French Quarter. And also we're making banana Fosters, which is a staple at Brennan's restaurant in the French Quarter. So I don't know if you guys are able to make some comments. You can definitely chat, make some comments below. I think there's a feature where you can raise your hand. I'm sure of it. So got a question for you guys. Have anyone lived in New Orleans or been to New Orleans before? I have. Actually was a college student at Loyola University in New Orleans, specialized in communications. And let's just say I've had way too many beignets and banana Fosters during my study in New Orleans. So I'm so excited to have you here today in my kitchen. So I hope you guys are ready for some New Orleans cooking. And as you can see right here, I'm all prepared. I have my Mardi Gras crown. I have my Mardi Gras beads. I know Mardi Gras is early in the spring, but that's okay. We're gonna have a good time. So les bon temps roulés. Let the good times roll, and we are going to get started. So let's start with our classic French beignet. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but the word beignet means pastry in French, okay? It's actually a French dish that migrated into the United States, mostly in the southern states. And it's really an easy dessert, very easy to prepare. So if you guys have your ingredients, I know a lot of you guys wanted to follow along, please do. If you don't have your ingredients in front of you, that's okay. Come on in and join in on the fun. We're gonna have a great New Orleans experience. And so you can always do the recipe later. So don't worry about it. I want you to stay in on the fun. Okay, so our ingredients for our beignets include, we have our all-purpose flour here. We actually have 2.5 cups of that. We have a 1/3 cup of our regular sugar here. We have a 1/4 cup of our salt. And then we're also gonna do a wet mixture as well of milk, melted butter, and an egg. So first things first, when we come to baking, we always want to separate the dry and the wet. We never want to incorporate it together because it can mess up the integrity of your baking, and we don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do is I already measured everything out for you. And again, the recipe is online. If you printed it out or you're just looking online right now, just want to make sure have it handy for you. You can just go ahead and follow along. But I have my handy mixer here. I gotta say, this is a must-have in your home. If you don't have it, please ask Santa Claus to get you one for Christmas. It's a must-have in your home. So I have my KitchenAid mixer here that we're gonna mix the ingredients to create a dough for our beignets. But let's just say you do not have a KitchenAid mixer. Fret not, you can always do this by hand, and you put all your ingredients in a bowl and you can mix it together. And it will not change anything at all. So I already have my all-purpose flour here. I'm just gonna go ahead and stick it in my bowl. And I'm gonna have, this is sugar, just regular granulated sugar. I'm gonna go ahead and stick that in there. And my salt, okay? Now, what I like to do, now these are just the base dry ingredients right here. I'm just gonna kind of sift it a little bit because I just wanna put all these ingredients together. Now, for those that are not bacon savvy, what is the sift? The sift is just like I'm shaking it out. You know, I'm trying to, especially with flour, you want that flour to breathe because it's been in that package for such a long time. So we just want to shake it up. So you guys can do a shimmy. I'm not good at that, so don't laugh at me. So we already have our dry ingredients here. Now we're going to go ahead and go to the wet. So again, dry, we're going to the wet. Right here, I have 3/4 cup of whole milk, all right? You want to use whole milk. Some people ask, can I use soy milk? Can I use almond milk? Can I use oat milk? I would say you can actually use oats and almond, not soy. Soy has a different component. It's made of soy, and soy can really mess up the ingredients, especially with the yeast and stuff like that, so you don't want to do that. Okay, and so we also, let's go ahead and put our wet ingredients together. So I have my egg here, and I have my melted butter. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna whisk it together real quick. Now, the recipe says melted butter. Question, can I use vegetarian butter for those that are vegetarians out there? The answer is yes. You can use vegetarian butter for this recipe. So if you want to do that, I would say vegetarian butter, almond milk, oat milk, but not soy, okay? You can use dairy-free eggs, cage-free eggs, brown eggs. That is fine. You can use all those things. And so the last thing you probably thought I forgot was the yeast. So you definitely need yeast in this thing. So I have some yeast here. Now, traditional beignets require using regular yeast. Now, a lot of us are busy people. We don't have time to let yeast, in dough pretty much set for hours and hours and hours. We're into the world of the now. I need it right now. So if you need it right now, especially with beignets, I need them right now. You want to use the active yeast, the rapid rise yeast, okay? You want to use this because you don't want to wait a long time. It doesn't mess up the beignets whatsoever. But if you want to wait, if you want that dough to wait for hours and hours and hours and hours to set and rise, you can go with the regular yeast. But I like quick. I want it right now. So we're going to do the active ride. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that in the dry. Now, you probably thought, now she forgot the yeast. I just wanted to make sure you knew that yeast needs to go in this recipe. So, all right. So I'm gonna mix the dry again one more time because I threw that yeast in there last. Just to make sure everything's all incorporated. Okay. Now, I'm gonna put the wet in here. So this is my milk, this is my melted butter, and this is my egg. I'm gonna go ahead and pour my wet into my dry. And we're just gonna mix it. Now I know you can't see this right now, but I'll show you once the dough is made. We're just mixing the wets and the dry ingredients together. So I hope you guys are, for those that have all the ingredients with them, I hope you guys are following along with me. So sometimes you're gonna have a little flour mixture that's gonna stick to the pan, stick to the bowl, that's okay. We wanna make sure we get it all incorporated. All right, we're getting there. I hope you guys are excited about this recipe as I am. I have not eaten dinner, so I'm excited to eat this first. Don't tell anybody this. Don't put it on Facebook. Don't put it on Instagram. I want to eat this first. All right. So I see my dough forming together right now. So the last part of this dough process, you're going to add another 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour into this mix here. And don't worry, I'm going to show you what this looks like when it's done, okay? So right now it's forming into a dough. And that's what we want. This is part of the beignet. Beignet is fried dough. That's what it is. So we want to make sure that our dough is perfect. And it's coming together really nicely. Now, for those that do not have a KitchenAid mixer and want to do it by hand, you can do the same thing. Just take a spoon and you can just stir it. You can take your whisk a little bit and just stir it until that dough forms. So you do not need a KitchenAid mixer for this, okay? I don't want you to go out and get it right now. You can wait till Christmas. It's totally fine. All right, so my dough is done. And I'm actually going to show you. You guys can see here, this dough. Here so you guys can see. Okay. All right, so we finished our dough. Now comes the fun part. Now, there's another process to this dough, okay? We're gonna have to fold it and we're gonna have to knead it, okay? So part of that, and the reason why we wanna do that is, although I use this mixer to mix the dough, you really need to make sure that we wanna mix all the ingredients well. Yes, we have the dough, but we also, this is part of the expansion process as well. So we wanna knead it, we wanna fold it, we wanna make sure that all the ingredients are mixed well. So that's why we're gonna do a part of it with our hand. And so I'm gonna go ahead, I have some flour here reserved. You will need some flour. We don't want too much flour because it can get really stiff. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of flour on the counter. I'm gonna scoop my dough out. So pretty much as far as dough, how to handle it, I usually do the fold, knead. The knead is actually, the knead part, you're gonna use the palm here of your hand. So you're gonna fold, knead. Fold, knead. I know I have these little Mardi Gras beads here. That's kind of something to buy. They were pretty money, but I need to take them off. So fold, knead. Fold, knead. Now you wanna do this about 18 to 20 times. I know the dough's gonna be mad at you, like, man, come on now, I'm done. But again, you'll thank me later. Just fold and knead, fold and knead. I hope you guys counted because I did not count. Don't tell anyone. I think I'm at number 9. So we're gonna fold and knead, fold and knead. And knead, pressing forward. Kneading is pressing forward with that palm of your hand here, okay? So it's a fold, it's a knead, pressing forward with your palm. Fold, knead, fold, knead. If you feel like you need some more dough, if you feel like you need some more flour, you're like, you know what, this is still sticky to my hands. This is not working out how I want it. Just sprinkle a little bit of flour, just a little. We don't want to overflow it. I'm gonna fold it neat. I hope you guys are doing this with me, you guys. I'm so excited about these beignets. I haven't been to New Orleans in about, I want to say 8 years. So this brings back memories, not of me making these, but definitely going to Cafe Du Monde. So I'm just excited to bring New Orleans into your home. All right. Looking pretty good to me. All right. Okay, so right now, this kind of shape, you want to shape it like a rectangle. Okay, so for those of you guys that have a rolling pin, you want to roll it out by 11 by 8 or 11 by 9. Now, what if you don't have a rolling pin? Because sometimes things happen, chefs forget things. So if you don't have a rolling pin, that's okay. You can still fold it out, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stretch it out with my hand. See, chefs know how to improvise, okay? So flatten out. But for those that have a rolling pin, you wanna roll it out. It's about 2 inches. By 11 by 9, like a rectangle. 11 by 9, 2 inches. Now for those that like really thick beignets, I do like them a little thick. You can do 3 inches for the dough. All right. So mine is getting there. Like I said, I'm not worried. This is going to be great. Okay. All right. So I made it into a little rectangle here. Now the question is, how many pieces does it take for this dough here to make your beignets? I would say 15 squares, 18 the max. So some people like the little mini beignets, the little bite size. You can do 18, or you can do 15. It would be a really good size for the beignets. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna cut these. I'm gonna go ahead and cut. I'm gonna do 3 rows. Just use your knife, 3 long rows, and then I'm gonna cut them across. So I got 3, 6, 9, 12, got 15. How about that? All right. So that's it. Now what's next? So I put them in the fryer? No, we don't put them in the fryer right now. We need to let these rest for about 10 minutes. I would say 15 minutes tops. You don't need to put them in the refrigerator. You don't need to do anything like that. Just let it rest, because again, we beat these things up. We was kneading and folding and kneading and folding. And now the dough needs to rest. So we're gonna do this, let it sit about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna begin frying. So in the meantime, you guys, we're gonna open it up right now for questions. Like I said, we have minutes.
I have a quick question. Jill would like to know what it means to have when the dough's done. Is it sticky or is it firm? Like, what should we be looking for?
Well, when the dough is done, it's not sticking to your fingers. Okay, that's pretty much the sign. If it's still wet and it's still sticky to your fingers, that means you didn't put enough flour in it. Okay, so what I would suggest is, instead of just pouring flour in your dough, all what I would do is just sprinkle some flour on the table and mix that flour with the dough. on the table, okay? Once it starts to, once it's not sticky anymore, then you know it's good. So that's the thing. It shouldn't be sticking to your fingers like that. Okay.
Sounds good. I have two other quick questions. Well, there's the same question twice. Could you show what the dough looks like now, what we should be going with for? I guess I want to see how it's going now.
Okay. So right now the dough, it's not sticking to the touch. It's not sticking with my fingers here. Okay. It's very pillowy, very soft. Okay, like I said, not sticking to your fingers. Okay. Now these are about 2.5, maybe 2.5 inches thick. And so you want it like that. Okay. Like I said, the most important thing is you don't want this dough to be sticky and you don't want it to feel wet. Okay. You should be able to roll that dough and fold it without it being attached to your hands. And that's when you know it's done. So that would probably be the most important thing you look for. You don't want your dough, if you over knead it, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard, especially when you use the rolling pin or if you wanna use your hands, it would be hard to roll it. Okay, that's another thing. So you should be able to spread it out like a rubber band. It should stretch, okay? If it's not stretching, then you probably need to put a little bit more flour on it, maybe knead it a little bit more to kind of release that yeast and that flour. It needs to release. Okay, you've been folding it, you've been pressing it way too hard. Now it's like, okay, I need to breathe. So let it breathe. Okay, does that make sense? All right, good questions, great questions. All right, so in the meantime, we got the 10 minutes going. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna go ahead and start the oil. Now, I didn't really talk about this. It says canola oil on there, and it says cottonseed oil preferred. Now, a lot of people don't know what is cottonseed oil, okay? Pretty much the answer is in the word, okay? Cottonseed oil comes from the cotton plants. The reason why the cottonseed oil is so significant is because of its roots, because of its history. It started in France and it came over here, and a lot of people, especially in the South, it was actually used as part of a dessert during the South. So during slavery time, there's a lot of cotton fields and people were picking cotton and stuff like that. But the seeds from the cotton, once it's cooked and melts and cooked, it produces an oil. So a lot of people fry with cottonseed oil. It was used back in those times. And this was actually one of the desserts that was made during those times. So the cottonseed oil has to do with its history and its roots. So that's the significance of it. It's just about the history. Now, if you don't have cottonseed oil, it's kind of hard to find. I'm sure you can find it at Whole Foods or something. If you don't have cottonseed oil, your next best thing is going to be canola oil. So cottonseed oil, canola oil, vegetable oil. Those are the three I would recommend, okay? Those are high temperature oils. You can fry with those things. For those that are wanting to use olive oil or avocado oil, that is not something used for frying. Those are delicate oils, low heat. It's not for frying. It's for like sauteing or making marinade or making a dressing, not for deep frying, okay? So again, the high temperature oils are that cottonseed oil. Again, if you don't have cottonseed oil, it's okay. The reason why, again, the cottonseed oil is regarding the history of it. If you don't have it, canola oil, vegetable oil are so easy to find at the store. Just use those, okay? It's still gonna taste like a meal, okay? Any other questions? Any other questions out there or comments?
I think we're good right now.
Okay. All right. So I'm waiting for this oil to cook. So I'm sorry to heat up here. I'm like jumping ahead of myself. I'm ready for this to cook. And what type of pan can you use? I recommend cast iron skillet. That's a must-have in your home. If you don't have it, ask Santa Claus to get you one for Christmas. If you don't have that, you can always use a metal pan is fine. But again, it's the history, again, that cast iron skillet. That's why I like to use it. All right, we got a few more minutes before we're gonna start frying here. I think that's the most important part. People are ready for the frying.
I have 2 questions that just came in, if that's okay.
Yep.
Someone wants to know about the temperature of the oil and can you use peanut oil?
Okay, good question. Right now, the temperature needs to be between 400, 425. Right now, if you have a gas stove, it would probably be medium high because you don't want it to cook so quickly that it burns. Okay, so I would say medium high temperature. Some people want to do 375 to 400. For those that are not used to really cooking with high temperature oil, you can just test it out at 375. And if it's slow and not really cooking like you want to, I would just take it up a notch to about 400. Okay. Now, right now, my little NutriChef electric skillet only really goes to it's either 390 or 430. So I went ahead. I actually tried the 430 right now. If it's a little too high, I want to just go down to 390. Peanut oil. I've never used peanut oil before. It's but from what I understand about peanut oil, it is a medium high temperature oil. So it's not high like vegetable oil, and it's not low like olive. It's right dead in the middle. Okay. So for that, I would not recommend it. Okay. That is pretty much on the delicate oil side, like the avocado oil, the olive oil, or the corn oil. That's more of a low temperature oil. It kind of falls in the middle, but you want to be safe. If you want a healthy oil, cottonseed or canola oil is actually lower in saturated fat versus that vegetable oil. Now we love vegetable oil because we fry chicken in it. We love that. But if you want to be on the healthier side, my recommendation would be canola oil. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. Any more questions coming through?
I have one more actually, but thank you for answering that. Carol would like to know, how much oil should you fry in the pan? Do you need in the pan?
Sure. 3/4. You can do 3/4 of the way. So if you have I have a cast iron skillet. So I have about 3/4 oil full. Okay. Because this is not deep frying. Again, this is not chicken. This is not JoJo's. This is really delicate frying here. And so it's going to fry to the top. So I would say 3/4 of the way. Good question. All right. Got a few more. We got 2 minutes left. We're going to get started. And those looking really pretty. All right. Now there's a little test to determine if your oil is ready. So if you guys have a chopstick, any type of little wooden stick, what you can do is you can just put it in your oil. Got the chopstick here. You can put it in your oil. And so it's frying, okay? You know it's done. It's ready, okay? Always have a chopstick handy. Chopstick. Just stick it in there. All right. It's ready because the stick is frying. All right, so let's go ahead for those that are doing this follow along with me. I'm gonna go ahead and start frying our dough. Make sure you have your tongs. And it fries pretty quickly. I see it's puffing up, it's really pretty. Like literally, like 1 to 2 minutes. Tops, that's it. And once they're done, I have my pretty little bowl here. We'll show you in a minute once it's all done. I'm just gonna put a few in here. And they're frying. And they're puffing up really pretty. That's how we want it. And that's why it's important for that dough to rest, okay? Because we want them to expand, okay? Because these are donuts. Donuts puff up. So that's why we want it to rest a little bit. Now, could you have waited a little bit longer? Okay, could I waited 10 minutes? I mean, we did 10 minutes, but could I have waited, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? That's fine. That's fine. Totally fine. You can shape your dough as well. You can shape your dough however you want. If you want to use fancy cookie cutters and cut them like circles or stars, be creative, have fun with it, okay? Again, like 1 to 2 minutes on each side. That's all it's going to take. All right. These look absolutely amazing. I'm excited to try one. Oh my goodness. Baby. That's how they say it in New Orleans. Baby. This looks really good. All right, so I'm gonna let these cook. The most important part, the grand finale. What is the ingredient for the grand finale? Does anybody know? It's powdered sugar, right? We gotta have powdered sugar, okay? For those that been to Cafe Du Monde know that the powdered sugar is the star of the beignet. Now, if you like a lot of powdered sugar, I like a lot of powdered sugar. Go ahead and put it on there. If you just want a little bit, it's fine. So I have some powdered sugar over here. So I like a lot of it, but just for presentation, I want to be pretty with it. Just for presentation. And there we go. I wish you guys were here. We could have some beignets together. These look so good. I'm gonna have my friends try it since they're here. They're behind the scenes here. I'm gonna have them try it. I'm gonna sit down here. Does anybody have any questions? Any more questions? Now for the temperature, I did drop my temperature to about 390, okay? I wouldn't go no more again. 425 was just to get that heat going, just to crank that heat up. But I would safely say 400. Like you can start off at 425 just to crank that heat and then drop it to about 400, okay? 375, 400, depending on, your stove, because not all stoves are not equal, especially gas and electric. They're not the same. So you just have to kind of gauge it, okay? All right, I have these last ones here. Oh, this is a big one. Now see, these puffed up pretty nicely. So if you want them to be, like I said, a little bit thicker, I would say no more than 2.5, 3 inches thick, not 4, not 5, okay? The recipe says about 2 inches, 2.5 inches thick. You don't want it to be too thick because you don't want it to, you want this whole thing to cook. You don't want it doughy on the inside. So I wouldn't go no more than about 2.5. All right. It's a little messy in here. That's okay. We like mess. Okay. This is exciting. All right. So these are done. And make sure you have a paper towel. I didn't say that. Drain it on a paper towel to get that excess oil off. Okay. All right, I'm sure you guys want me to try one. I'm gonna try one right now. Now, if I have powdered sugar on my face, please don't take any pictures. Don't put it on Facebook. I want people to see me with this. All right, here we go. You're good. I like powdered sugar. These are soft. They're pillowy. They're really good. For me, my only recommendation is just to put more powdered sugar. That's just me. I like powdered sugar. But these are really good. Does anybody have any questions before we go to our next recipe?
We have a few, if that's okay. Someone in the chat would like to know what's the best way to store Finnish beignets.
Okay, good question. I recommend this. I would put them in an airtight container, okay? If they're already cooked, airtight container. Now, you can't refry them once they're done, but you can take airtight container, and once you want to go ahead and when you're ready to eat them, I would just warm them up in the oven, like 350, 5 to 7 minutes. You want to just reheat them. I wouldn't recommend the microwave because, sometimes when you put something in the microwave, if you don't eat it right away, sometimes it gets hard. It doesn't taste right. So I want to make sure I still have that same integrity and that same texture in that beignet. So I would put it in the oven, 350, 5 to 7 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you. I have two people. I have a couple of the same question. Is it 2 inches wide or 2 inches thick?
Thick.
Okay.
Thick. As far as the width, 11 by 8. 11 by 8. That's going to give you about 15 to 18 beignets. Okay. Now, if you want the little bite size, some people are like, I like little, I don't want that much, just little bite size, then you can do 21. But for this recipe right here, it's between 15 to 18 beignets. Okay. And like I said, I shaped them like squares, but I mean, you can do triangles. It doesn't matter the shape, but for this particular recipe, you can get 15 to 18 shapes.
Sounds good.
Good question. Any other question?
I do, but I don't know who's your favorite chef / mentor, Marianne would like to know.
Oh, that's a good question. Wow. I do like Emerald Lagasse because he's from New Orleans. I just love his energy and his passion for cooking. That's why I did this, because I'm passionate about what I do. I like to inspire people to cook. I say it's about 2 things. I want people to be curious about trying new recipes, but then I want them to be confident to repeat the recipe again. So if you have that curiosity builds confidence. And then you got to have fun with it. So everything I make, it could be a grilled cheese sandwich or it could be beignets. I always like to put my passion into it, my energy, and make it fun. Because if you make it fun, people are going to be curious. They want to learn how to do it themselves. Great question. Okay, we got 15 minutes left. It's only going to take a few minutes to do the banana foster. So give me a few seconds, if you don't mind. We're going to just switch some ingredients here, and then we're going to do the banana foster. Okay. Okay. Alexandra, do you mind? Can I turn off the camera for one moment so I can switch? Would that be okay?
That's
okay.
Fine.
All right. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay. We're going to do our banana foster. It's going to take about 5 minutes, and then we are done. Okay. All right, you guys. Be right back.
All right. And if you guys have any questions in the meantime, feel free to leave them in the chat. Also, if you're interested in tonight's recipe, either for the beignets or the bananas foster, that's all. There's a link in the chat, and we'll make sure to include it again before the end of the evening. All right, I can tell you how to access. I'll answer this question live. Marcia would like to know how to find the recipe when finished. Access the recipe when we're finished. So there should be a link in the chat. You should also have gotten the link to the recipe in the email that had included the Zoom link. We'll put it in the chat right now. And you should be able to click on it and it'll take you directly to the recipe, which you can print out. So you can definitely make this at home because I now want to make it. Yes, we can. We're going to put the link to SipSavorSoul in the chat as well. So if you're interested in that, you will have that as well. Give me 1 second and I'll put it there. All righty. Okay, I included the link to SipSavorSouls now in the chat, so you should be able to access the recipe, Dannika's website to her company, SipSavorSoul. So I would highly encourage checking them out at any point. And thank you all for joining us. And thank you all for coming to all of our virtual cooking presentations. This has been very fun. So don't forget, while we're waiting for Chef Danica to finish switching out ingredients, we do have another cooking program next week. So it's a quick turnaround. Next Tuesday, we are sticking with sweets. We're going to learn how to make a bourbon pecan pie with Chef Bridget Thibodeau, the owner of Luna Bakery and Cafe. So that's Tuesday, October 5th at 7 p.m. Hope to see you all again. By the end of this, between the beignets and the Banana Foster and bourbon pecan pie, I mean, we're all going to be set. All right, is there any other questions? We have, oh, great.
All right, we're back. I ate a bunch of beignets, so don't tell anyone. Sorry, it took a little bit longer. If I got powdered sugar on my face, sorry. All right, who's ready for Banana Foster? Who's on my, I hope I have a bunch of banana fans out there. Actually, the Banana Foster, actually is a New Orleans dessert. The gentleman's name is John Foster. There was this contest in New Orleans, and in Brennan's, he wanted a recipe with banana in it. So there was a gentleman named John Foster, and he made this dessert with alcohol and bananas, with some spices and some cinnamon, all that great stuff. And he put it on top of ice cream, and they called it Banana Foster. He ended up winning that thing. So congratulations to him. So it's after its name actually, the name is actually named after a person that won a contest in New Orleans. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start our Banana Foster, and I wanna make sure you guys have all your ingredients. And so we have our bananas, we have butter, cinnamon, nutmeg, salt, dark brown sugar. If you don't have dark brown sugar, it's okay. Light brown sugar is fine. We also have the liqueur. I think that's the most important part of it. Everybody likes a little liqueur. So we have banana liqueur and we have rum. Now, I got the spice rum because I say everybody needs a little spice in their life. You can hashtag spice in your life. Put that as a hashtag. So I have spice rum and then ice cream. Now, I always tell people this. When it comes to taste, it's about two things. Taste, two things. It's about your preference. It's about your palate. Okay. So if you don't like vanilla ice cream, I know it says, I think it says vanilla or your choice. Go ahead and choose something else. Actually, today's ice cream is buttermilk. I think it's awesome. If you like chocolate, go with chocolate. If you like strawberry with bananas, go with that as well. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and start our Banana Foster here. We're gonna switch eyes real quick. All right. All right, so the first thing it calls for butter. Now we wanna make sure the butter is melted. Why? Okay, we wanna make sure it's melted because if you use cold butter, not to say you can't use cold butter, it just takes a long time for it to melt, okay? So we always wanna do warm temperature butter, okay? So give me a second here. This is my brand new electric burner here. So it's kind of acting a little funky for a second. So. All right. All right. So what you want to do is you guys can go ahead and do it. You guys can go ahead and start melting your butter. You know, sometimes when we do cooking classes, we always have these technical difficulties. So just give me a second. But in the meantime, for those that are doing it right now, go ahead and start melting your butter. It's making all these crazy noise here. Okay. All right. Hopefully this is melting. We want it to melt. All right. Now, regarding the butter, you want it to melt completely, okay? That's the most important part of it. All right. All right, so it's melting. You want it to melt completely, okay? So just give it a moment. If you have a fork or a spoon and you just need to flatten it out, you can go ahead and do that. But we just want to make sure this is completely melted. All right. So it seemed like my thing and my burner is not working. So what we're gonna do real quick, like I said, sometimes chefs have technical difficulties. We are not perfect. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually go over to the stove and we're gonna do this real quick. We have 5 minutes and it's only gonna take 5 minutes, okay? So we're gonna just move over to the stove right here. So just come for the ride. We're gonna move over to the kitchen. We're gonna move over here to the stove. Again, things like this happen, but that's okay. It's still gonna come out perfect, okay? All right, so you're just gonna follow along with me here. All right, give it 1 second. We're gonna turn the camera. I'm gonna turn this off and we'll be right back. I'm just gonna turn the camera. All right. This is Timmy. We're here.
Looks good.
All right. Again, this is perfect, you guys. So you guys can see all the, sometimes we struggle a little bit, but hey, we always bounce back, okay? So sometimes things like this happen. All right, so we have a gas stove here. I'm melting the butter all the way. Like I said, we're gonna be done in a few minutes. All right, so while that is completely melting, I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting. You can start peeling your bananas. It says 3 to 4 bananas here. It just depends. If it's just you, 1 banana will do. So I have my friends here. I have 3 of my line sisters here. So I'm gonna actually cut 3 bananas. And what you wanna do is you want to cut it in half and then you wanna have it, okay? So I'm just gonna cut these in half. And then I'm gonna cut them right down the middle. You guys can see that. So I'm doing cutting in half, cutting in half. All right, so my butter is melting. Okay, I hope you guys can see that. All right, we're gonna add our brown sugar. Again, it doesn't have to be dark. If it's not dark, it's okay. You can always use light brown sugar. Okay, we're gonna add a little bit of salt. We have our nutmeg. We have our cinnamon. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. We have 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, not imitation. Again, not imitation. It's not the same. That's why it's called imitation. You want the purest vanilla, okay? All right. So we're gonna mix this. Okay. Mix it well. Okay. All right. All right, so we got that cooking for a little bit. All right, now we're gonna add our bananas. So I have my sliced bananas in here. Okay. My bananas in here. Now we don't want to overcrowd it. We don't want to overcrowd it. So I have a few bananas in here. Okay. You just want to give it a minute to let it cook because we want those flavors in the banana, okay? So we're just gonna stir a little bit. All right, this smells amazing. Okay. Now I'm sure you're wondering, where's the alcohol? Where's the alcohol? Where's it going? Okay, we're gonna do this with caution, okay? I wouldn't recommend this for kids. If you're a teenager and you cook a lot, I give you permission, but this is not for the little ones, okay? We're gonna put our alcohol in here. So we have our banana liqueur. Woo! All right, it's bubbling. We're getting ready. All right. We have our rum. Now here comes the fun part. You know, with the flambe, you wanna light it up. So we're gonna light it up real quick here. See what happens. If it will light up, maybe not. Woo! There we go. Woo-wee. All right. Okay. We got it. All right, it's heating. All right. And the alcohol is, we want 100% proof. This is like 95% proof, okay? We're just flambeing it, okay? Now, if it's too much fire, okay, it shouldn't be, but if there's too much fire, you're like, oh my God, this is a lot, okay? You want to stir it a little bit. You don't want to stir it too much because if you spill it, it can cause an accident. You don't want a fire in your kitchen, okay? So I'm just letting it cook just a little bit. Okay, we want to be gentle with the heat, gentle with the fire. Okay, I'm going to turn it off. Boom. Just close it with a lid. That's it. Isn't that easy? That's all you have to do. Close it with a lid. If it's too much heat, close it with a lid. All right. Now we have our ice cream. What's your favorite ice cream, you guys? Is it chocolate, vanilla, butter pecan, strawberry? And here's a cool thing too. Okay, for those with dietary restrictions or let's say their dairy allergy, you can use the soy-based ice cream. There's plant-based ice cream. Can you use vegan butter? Yes, you can. You can use vegan butter with this, okay? So you can still have this recipe if with an allergy, okay? So this is a great recipe. If you don't like bananas, like I don't like bananas, guess what? You can use apples. You can use strawberries. You can use blueberries. Okay, it doesn't have to be called banana foster. Let's call it apple foster. Let's call it strawberry foster. Let's call it pumpkin foster. Whatever you want to call it. We want to pay homage to Mr. Foster, but create your own foster. What is your foster? Okay, that's the question. All right, so we have our ice cream coming here. This looks amazing. Amazing, amazing. I'm so excited. So this is our sauce. We have our bananas here. We have the butter pecan ice cream. Put my little bananas in it here. All right. I think I need a bigger spoon. That's okay. That's right. Oh. Yeah. All right. Got to put my sauce in here. All right. And there you go. Look at that. We made it on time. I think it's 8:01. There we go. Woo. It smells amazing, you guys. Awesome, awesome. Anybody have any questions as I eat my ice cream?
We have
I'm
no
gonna taste it for you guys. Baby. That's how they say it in New Orleans, baby. This right here. Okay. This is awesome. All right, so if you want to learn more about the recipe, Hudson Library has that information for you. If you want to learn more about SipSavorSoul, SipSavorSoul, Instagram, SipSavorSoul, Facebook, SipSavorSoul. We, myself, have some upcoming classes for you. Regarding that WSET, WSET certification, I actually passed. I am instructed to teach wine and wine pairing. Just passed this thing last week. So I am teaching wine. So I'm really excited about that for all the wine lovers, curious about wine, I just want to learn, or I'm really enthusiastic about wine. I'm having some upcoming classes regarding wine. All right. Question.
We don't have any questions right now, but I just want to thank you so much, Chef, for this evening. Everything looks so amazing, and I'm rather jealous I can't try it right now.
Well, I mean, thank you so much for this opportunity, you guys. I hope you guys, your listeners out there, enjoy this recipe. Send Hudson Library some pictures. Let people know what you thought about the recipe. Hashtag spice in your life. Hashtag banana foster. Hashtag beignet. Hashtag technical difficulties. Whatever. So, you guys, thank you so much. I hope to see you guys again.
Thank you again. We've had people telling us they loved it tonight. Thank you so much, Chef. Please make sure to check out SipSavorSoul. The link's in the chat. And good night, everybody.